Hey, Izzy Nally here. Thank you for tuning in to this live today. So if you're watching live, say hi. If you're catching the replay, of course, hashtag replay. Let me know what you hope to expect, if you had any expectations. And also let me know, do you know what a blue ocean strategy is? Have you heard that term? Have you heard the term blue ocean strategy? So, today, what we're really talking about is why it's good to be different. Most likely, you are showing up in a saturated market. So, if you are a business coach, you know that there are a million business coaches out there. And this allows you to communicate to your potential clients why you're different than them. And you might be thinking, well, am I different from them? And the answer is yes, because you have your own set of beliefs and values and your own unique personality. So that's what we really want to harness and bring it in and make our company, our business, different as well. Now, if you're not a business coach, this still applies to you as well. So maybe you're a health coach of some kind, or maybe you're offering a product, especially if you are in one of these businesses where you have a team of people that are selling the same product. How do you set yourself apart and how do you make yourself stand out so that people want to buy from you over your competitor who's, maybe two doors down, so to speak? All right. So a blue ocean strategy. A blue ocean strategy is where you take and you piece together different components and you make something new. So we're going to come back to that. We're also going to talk about how you can utilize your personality and form that together to create your own version of a blue ocean strategy. But first and foremost, before you can take any actions, there is always a mindset that needs to be conquered because the mind comes before any action. That we must have the thoughts, we must believe it's possible, we must have some awareness or some understanding before we're motivated to take those actions. Even if we know exactly what actions we should be taking in our business, you might not still be doing them, or you might not be showing up in the way that you would like to. And so that mindset is why, or that's why mindset is so important. So when we are thinking of standing out in our past, at school, as a child, when we're thinking about gaining attention from people, typically, that causes either one, some anxiety, or two, some fear, which is anxiety is fear based. But generally, that's because we've been taught not to stand out. We have been taught that we need to go along with the show and blend in with the crowd. We've taught to be safe. We've been taught to be safe. And to be safe is to blend in, to be accepted. And so it's only natural that we have this fear of not standing out, that we have this fear of people might not like us, and that we want that approval from our tribe. We want that approval from the people in our general vicinity. So, what happens is, one, we don't want all of the attention. We are fearful of that level of success because we're scared of what our family and friends might think. That's generally first and foremost. We're more fearful of what our friends and family might think than we are of what the strangers would think. Although we are still fearful of that because that's our potential tribe. And we want them to like and accept us. So when we start to transform into CEO mindset, business owner mindset, success mindset, we have to have a new knowing that standing out is important and that it is more important than the fear of our family and friends not liking us. Why? Because your friends and family want to support you. They want your success. And when we can show up with our heart, for making an impact in the world, whether it's through a product or through a service, we're showing up to try to make that impact. And so when we come from it with our heart, our friends and family will see that, they will feel that, and they will want to support us. I've seen this too many times. I have a lot of people that are in here that are probably in the sticker business. I've heard a few of you all. And with the sticker business, I've said, invite your friends and family to like your business pages. This is with all of us with our products. Invite them to like your business pages. Why are you scared? And I want to know this. Go ahead and type this down, because this is important for not only for you to type this out and get this out, but it's important for the other people here to see this as well, so that they can see, oh my gosh, everyone else is feeling and thinking the same thing as me. Okay. So make sure that you share these fears. It's very, very empowering. I went to a yoga event once and we did this, and I since then learned it in the therapy program as well as another exercise. But we were at a yoga event and we were talking about fear. And so everyone wrote down their fear, their main fear, or maybe a couple fears, and they wrote it onto a piece of paper. And this was a room of like 40 people. And we all put it in this basket. And then they, mixed it up and they passed the basket around and everyone pulled one out so that we would be reading other people's fears. And we went around, and for the majority, we read out almost 40 different fears, and it was so enlightening and empowering because the same like 3 or 4 fears just kept showing up. And so as we're reading all these other fears, it's becoming more normal for us to go, oh my gosh, everyone else has those fears too. So when you think about having this fear of what are my friends and family going to think of me when I show up with passion, when I show up being my authentic self, when I express my thoughts that maybe won't be likable by everyone, when those fears show up of, maybe not belonging and maybe rubbing someone the wrong way, air quotes, that fear is normal. That so many of us and even them are having those fears too. And so when we take the opportunity to show up authentically in our business, we are empowering others to show up authentically as well. And the number one thing that causes pain and misalignment, which prevents our success in all areas, is us not showing up in alignment. It's not showing up wholeheartedly, that we're holding back somehow. And that holding back somehow is what is preventing our success. So if this is making sense, make a comment. Let me know. Is this making sense to you? Does this resonate with you? Are you feeling this block show up for you? Okay. So for us to own our blue ocean strategy, for us to show up in our business and to allow our business to show up as something unique, as something different, we have to allow ourselves to be a little weird, to be possibly unaccepted by everyone. Because what we want is acceptance by our tribe. We're forming our new tribe. We're collecting all the people that believe what we believe, that like what we like, that want to maybe follow or learn more about how we believe things to be true. And so if you're scared of showing up wearing the clothes that you really like, or if you're scared to show up and really talk about a subject matter that isn't liked by everyone, or it's a point of view that not everyone in the industry has, that standing out is a good thing. So I'm sure you've heard, in the marketing and the public relations, the PR world, sometimes these celebrities, they get a lot of attention, and it's a lot of negative attention, but it's still attention. Then they might hear that quote like, no PR or bad PR is good PR because it's better than nothing. That kind of quote. What is that quote? Somebody write it down for me. So a blue ocean strategy is taking something like the Circus Olay. They took the circus and they took this theater, this Broadway, and they meshed it together to bring together the Circus Olay. It was something that hadn't been done before, yet had been done before. They took two beautiful things that were not doing so well at the time, and they brought it together to create maybe even a new group of people, a new love of something people didn't even know that they loved. So we had the people that liked the circus, but maybe were burnt out by the circus. The people who liked the idea of Broadway, but maybe weren't attending Broadway plays because nothing was new. And they meshed those things together. Why? Because someone had a passion for both. And they figured out a way to make those work together. And so that's something that I have done personally in my business is I am a hypnotherapist and a mind-body therapist. And I also have my MBA and a business consultant. That's what makes me unique, is my ability to have an expertise in both of these areas and bring them together. I also work with corporate clients just as much as I work with individual clients. And I work with people on many different levels. And so when we work together, I'm able to identify what points need to be, what gaps are there. And I often say this when I work with corporate clients. I say change management and all of this is just therapy for the business. And it is, it's therapy for the business because the business becomes its own entity. But you're the representation, you're the vision creator, you're the creator, the vision holder. And so this is where you can become and create your own unique spin. So I've seen this beautiful marketing that's done recently, and you might be in the group. If you're in the group, please share your link, where it's like a whale of something, and their marketing is this pink ocean, and they've got a little whale. It has nothing to do with what they're teaching or what they're doing, but they've brought in things they like, and they're making it become a part of their marketing to stand out. And so that's that visual component. And we've got another person, Heather, you can share your link to your group in here. Heather's working on, finding her voice and having an unpopular opinion in some of the yoga world. That's okay. She likes the more corporate style of yoga. And so those are the people she's speaking to. Versus I have some other friends who are very much about that mind-body connection in the more spiritual, frilly, fluffy yoga way. And there's nothing wrong with that either. Though that's their message, that's their belief, that's what they need to take. I have other friends that are strictly in the trauma yoga and the trauma field. That's their market. That's for them to talk about. That's for them to express their beliefs. But if you really want to come in and you want to stand out, then you need to make your beliefs stand out as well. What stance are you taking in the industry to either disrupt it, to bring it to the forefront? What is it that you really want to say to that industry? Because you want to become that industry expert. You want to be seen as an expert in that industry, then you need to come out and you need to speak. You need to become the leader. And to become the leader, we must be seen. And to be seen, we're going to have to allow our friends and family to see us, to see how we show up. That's going to have to happen. And your friends and family will support you because they're going to see, wow, look at these amazing things that she or he is doing, that they are doing. Look at how they're having an impact. And even though they might not completely agree with you, they're going to want to have a conversation with you. And that's even more beautiful because when people start to get into conversations with us, they're exploring. They're exploring what we do. We want them to explore what we do. That gets them closer into that know, like, trust funnel. They need to know who we are. They need to like us and they need to trust us. And just because they like us doesn't mean that they always agree with us. In fact, one time I actually took, I don't know if you all heard of Booty Yoga, it's BUTI. I had seen some ads for it and I was really angered by this. I was very angered by it. And those emotions that were coming up was really interesting for me because I was doing a lot of deep work at that time. And I was like, okay, I'm really having strong feelings. So I'm going to explore this. And so I began looking at it online and I still was having a lot of like, why is this causing so much anger for me? And she had taken her stance and her way of perceiving yoga and its abilities, and she had made it her own. And I didn't agree with it. But then I ended up finding myself signing up for the certification program and going out of town for a whole weekend to take this training. And I allowed myself to be open to explore it. And as I was exploring it, I was finding out what is about it that I did like and what about it I didn't like. And then I was able to then form my own style of that class, which was rhythmic yoga. And I found that there was the Kundalini portions of that I really loved, but it was the safety part and the knowledge and the wisdom of yoga that I didn't feel like was showing up there, especially being in sports medicine. I felt like there was potential injuries. And so I wanted to then bring that back. I also wanted to put the respect of yoga in there so that it wasn't this bootylicious looking, women only, let's be sexy. At the time, I didn't see the value of that. But then later on, I started exploring more of this, owning our feminine nature. And I found that that was important, behind closed scenes for us to do that work, for us to feel sexy in our own bodies, and that there is a beautiful value to that. But I still didn't agree with the way it was being marketed. And so then I was finding my stance on that subject matter. Okay. And even within business, I have my stance. My stance is there's a lot of people out there that are business coaches that have no formal education in business, that they are simply learning from someone else some marketing strategies and some trends. And they're putting a lot of fancy words together and they're telling you exactly what you want to hear, which has been done throughout marketing throughout many years. And they're telling you what they want to hear. And they're telling you can create a business in 7 days, that you can create a business in 30 days, that you'll be making, hundreds of $1,000s in just a couple months. And I'm going to tell you that that is possible. However, it's highly unlikely. Highly unlikely. Why? Most people that are coming into their programs have already been suffering in their business for at least a year. And they've already learned a lot of lessons and they've already become clearer about what it is that they've done or what they don't do. And so they're already fairly experienced. And then when they're coming into their program, they're just refining. They're not starting, they're refining. And they already maybe have failed at a couple launches and programs, and then they're perfecting them. And suddenly in 3 months, they're having all this success. Well, they're going to word it to that way where it's like it's reading the fine print. Just like I teach manifestation and abundant mindset, I'm not going to lie to you that it's not going to happen overnight. And it's not as simple as I'm just going to sit here and I'm going to say these words to myself and suddenly it's going to happen. Yes, you have to see it, but you have to believe it. And you have to believe it at a cellular level to the point where you start taking the actions And the actions are what causes your success. But it does all start with mindset. It starts with the mind, moves into the heart, and then it travels out through action. Our action organs are our hands and our feet. Okay. So a blue ocean strategy, as I mentioned, is like the Circus Soleil. We've got circus, we've got Broadway. We put them together to create something new. Now, is it really something new? No. But it's taking things that already exist and pairing them together in a way that is your passion. So take, for example, your branding, your marketing, your program, and start jotting down what it is that you believe. What are your core beliefs? How are they different? And if you don't know that, then this is your homework. If you're not exactly sure where you stand in the marketplace, then your homework is to do the research. You need to know who else out there is doing what you do or something similar. Who are your competitors? And who are your competitors outside of the box that you might not be thinking about? So, for example, someone in Broadway might say it on a far limb, the circus was a competitor because it was still a show, and vice versa. And we want to write all of those out or type all of those out. And we want to start exploring. And yes, this takes time, but are you in it for the long game? Are you in it for the long haul? Okay. So if we're in this for the long game, this foundation is vital. Who are your competitors? What are they doing to stand out? Is someone else doing it really different? Like there's tons of tech companies, people that create tech, but Apple really stands out. They dared to be different. They're okay with being disliked. Some people hate Apple. They don't want Apple products. Speaking of which, I just bought a Mac Pro. I made a big jump. And I'm having a huge learning curve and I'm trying to figure it all out. And, maybe one of my fears is that learning curve. So I just said, I don't like it. I don't want it. So sometimes our fears are because we don't understand things. So you have a potential client stream that maybe just doesn't understand certain topics, and you get to be their teacher and you get to guide them. So your homework is to go do the research, know who your competitors are, know what they're doing, know what their stances are, and start to write down what it is you believe about that. Do you agree with them? Do you disagree with them? Is there something in the market that people are currently doing things a certain way and you disagree with it? Why do you disagree with it? How is your program and what you offer different? And then find out how people currently are. What are they currently doing? What do they need to be doing? Take a strong stance on that. And you should be so fired up by it that you want to come live every day and talk about it. You're so fired up about it that you're ready to make this change in the industry, that you become a leader in the industry to try to help the whole industry elevate. Maybe we need more trainings. We need more education. We need more people doing things a certain way. What do we need more of? And a lot of people have made a stance in the industry that they say, you don't need to go get your MBA to be a business owner, to be a business coach. Okay, well, if they're not getting their MBA, where are they getting their education from? That's my goal. My goal is to create my own program so that I can educate people. But I want them to have a credential. So then, okay, how do I get those? How do I allow them to get those credentials? I want them to have maybe an associate's in business. And how do I allow them to have that? How do you differentiate yourself from the market? What are your values? What are your beliefs? Because when you have strong values and beliefs, those will show up in the words that you choose and the energy behind the words that you say. I want people to be empowered. Empowered. I want them to feel confident. I want them to have clarity. I want them to have that security of showing up consistently. In order to do that, you've got to do the research. You've got to do the research. You have to know what the competitors are doing so you can speak to it. Maybe you're already doing it. Maybe you're doing something different, something better. And just because they're doing it doesn't mean that you have to do it too, because you can agree or disagree with it. But they can give you ideas, and you can do the same things, but in your own way. Because even if we type up the same document, we're going to style it different. We might choose slightly different words. And the words that you choose are important because they should create a feeling, they should create an emotion. So you need to dare yourself to be different, dare yourself to stand out, allow yourself to get over that fear. And if you are having that fear and maybe you've tried to do some work around it, I recommend some hypnotherapy. Doesn't have to be me. Maybe you have a friend that does it. And if you need a hypnotherapy session, please let me know. Okay. So we're taught to fit in. Maybe we have some thoughts about those people that stood out. We thought they're a show off, or we thought something about them. But let's look at the people in business that are doing really well. Do they all come off as show offs? No. Most likely the ones you resonate with are showing up with passion. They're showing up as a leader. They're showing up as a leader in the industry with passion. And that's how you're going to show, that's how you're going to come off when you do it based in your values, based on authenticity. And it's going to feel a little hard at first. It's going to feel a little challenging because you're getting over those fears that were instilled in us at a young age to fit in and don't stand out. And it's not that you're standing out enormously, but in order to make a difference, you need to be able to stand out. So if someone was to ask you, what do you do? How do you answer? And if someone was to ask you, how is that different than everyone else in the market? How do you answer? This is your homework. This is your homework. Answer these questions, and you can drop them down below. And if you don't have the answers to those questions, then your homework is to do the research and start figuring out what the answers to those questions are. Thanks for joining me today in today's live, talking about blue ocean strategies and how you can stand out in the market to gain the attention that your business needs. It's a good thing. It's a good thing to be different. It's a good thing to be a little weird, right? So please comment below if you need some help on this. We can book you a free strategy session to work this out. I'm here to help you all. I'm here to help you first and foremost. So you have the resources available. And if you don't have the resources available for actual coaching, I'm not going to pressure you into that. You can always pay me back with a fantastic testimonial talking about what we did in your strategy session and how it benefited you. I'm Izzy Nally. Thanks for joining. Bye-bye.